Hey, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and this is a series of videos on the Teenage Engineering OPZ digital synthesizer group box workstation thing. In the overview video, we went over, kind of the overview. Isn't that weird? We went over the overview and the overview. In this video, I want to go over the synth engines and the sample engines. There are 4 sample engines and then 4 synth engines right here. Each sample engine is sort of like a kit. And for all of these, all of these from here to here, holding down the track button will allow you to select a preset. So each one of the black keys, when you're holding down the track button, becomes a preset. And you can load your own presets on there. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 are all stock kits, and like on the OP1, I don't think you can get rid of them. They're just there.
Hi, Future Jeremy here. I just want to say that I was wrong. You can remove all the default kits and put your own kits on there by deleting the little file name with the tilde and then putting your own thing there. They're just placeholders. You can get rid of them. I was wrong. Have a great day.
And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 are your own. That's for the samples. On the synths, the black keys are the synth engine, and the bottom ones are the presets. And you can load a preset by pressing the white key that's lit up, and you can save a preset by holding down one of the blank ones, or you can overwrite these, and you can see what happened there. The little LEDs went bloop and let me know that it's saved. So you can load OP1 compatible kits into here. You can get those from a lot of different places. They're a mono AIFF file, and you sort of have a bunch of slices that are going to be each note. You can use the OP1 drum utility. You can get stuff from OP1, which is a site for OP1 patches. I'll put a link in the description. You have a lot of options. Just as a warning, I did run into a couple kits that I downloaded from OP1 Fun that crashed everything. So if you load a kit on and you end up having some really, really weird issues, you might need to go and delete some of the kits that you loaded on and figure out which one is the one causing the issue. Even though these are marked kick, snare, hi-hat, and sample, you obviously don't have to just put kits that are kick, snare, hi-hat, and sample on here. The ones that are loaded on that come with it are all, well, except for the cuckoo one, because he's crazy, are all pretty much what you'd expect. Like they're just snares and stuff like that. I loaded a bunch on here that are a little different to give myself some variety, especially over here in the sample area, because I wanted a specific kind of thing to mess with. So those are pretty cool. All right, just to overview, you can load your own kits into these 4 slots here and have access to a variety of sounds. The first synth engine in the row here is the bass check. And like I said, the black keys here represent each one of the synth engines. You have saw, and we'll go over that more in a second. You have Uranus. Yep, it's called Uranus, which is sort of a deeper bass. You have electric, which sort of stabs at doing a sort of physical modeling bass, like bass guitar sound. Digital, which is sounds very OP1 and is very digital. Haha. Volt, which I believe is the same as the OP1 voltage synth, and bow, which I think is the same as the string synth in the OP1 that has that car plus strong thing going on. You have 2 parameters per synth engine that affect the sound directly. Then you have like a filter and envelope. The P1 and P2 here are going to give you different things per synth engine. So that's a sort of like overview of what the P1 and P2 knobs are going to do. After that, you have filter, which is sort of a DJ style filter, meaning that down here it's a low pass, and up here it's a high pass. You can increase the resonance. Which can help you, especially in the high end, get some boost and character. All of these things are also controlled by the app. If I wanted to, I could do this, which is really helpful for live performance. But you see you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sort of parameter sections. And if you're just using the OP1, hitting the Shift key switches between them. So now we'll hit up the envelope. And it's a pretty standard ADSR. If you've used any synths ever, you'll be familiar with how that works. Next is the LFO. You got 1 LFO per track, and it's fine. I wish I had 2, but it is what it is. So depth and rate are pretty self-explanatory. One is the depth of the LFO, the other one's the rate at which the LFO goes blah, blah, blah. The destination is you're going to be able to choose between one of the 2 parameters: the filter, the resonance, volume, and pan. To stereoize my sound sometimes. Obviously, the reverb send that we're using right now is stereoizing it a bit as well. Volume is good if you want to do, like, I don't know, like an electric piano sound with tremolo. Oh, there is an electric piano engine in here. And then finally, shape. You can either have a free-running LFO, which means that no matter when you hit a key, the LFO is always moving. And you can see that it switches between sort of a clean triangle ramp to this sort of more square thing. And then once you hit square completely, it switches over to trig and goes back to triangle. And trig means that every single time you hit the key, the LFO is going to reset. And it's going to start its sweep from the beginning again. So that can be useful. Hitting shift again, you get over to the FX sends, which you can choose between a number of FX engines, and I'm going to get into that later. But right now I have a delay on 1 and a reverb on 2. That's the delay, which can be adjusted a lot. And that's the reverb. And they send independently to each other, so it's not like you can chain the delay into the reverb or anything like that, which is a blessing and a curse, I guess. Also on this page, you have access to pan and volume for the individual track, which I will call out is the same as the volume on the mixer. So turning this down to 0 on the mixer will also turn this down to 0 here, and vice versa, which is good. Good to have that kind of feedback. We're going to go through the rest of the synth engines in a second, but I also want to call out on here that because it's on this page, that you can change by hitting the track button the default note length, the note style between mono, polyphonic, and legato, your amount of quantize, and the amount of portamento, and all those are adjusted by these knobs right here. Okay, so we went through that's available on the bass engine. Just to recap, we have saw, Uranus, electric, digital, volt, and bow. So on the lead, we don't have Uranus. I'm sorry. Lead does not have Uranus. We have volt, again, digital, cluster, which is also from the OP1, and it's a nice mellow, sort of hollow sound, which I really, really like for leads. And the 2 knobs kind of it's like a cluster detune with 1 and a brightness with 2. We also have saw, which we already went over, electric, which we already went over, and bow. Over in ARP, we have everything that was on the lead sounds, all the same ones. Again, we don't have Uranus. That's special to the bass sound. And something notable about the ARP track. Let's go ahead and... So... It's an arpeggiator track. You can't turn off the arpeggiator. It is what it is. And unfortunately, you also lose the LFO here. Instead of the LFO, you get access to controls for the arpeggiator. So it's the ARP speed. The pattern style, so whether it's up, down, up, or random. style is, if anyone's familiar with the OP1 arpeggiator, it's lifted directly from that. It changes sort of the way that it will play notes back in a different way than the pattern. You can see it's introducing gates and like an actual kind of rhythm thing going on, which is pretty cool. And range is how many octaves it goes up when it plays, as opposed to just, right now I'm holding a minor triad, but it will go up the range. So that's pretty nice. Finally, we have the chord track, and the chord track shares saw, cluster, digital, volt, and bow, but it also has shade, and shade is an electric piano sort of thing. Really, really pretty. I like shade because not only is it nice to have a classic sort of electric piano sound, but also it kind of gets distorted. And I like that because as a performance instrument, when you're playing the OP1, if you have a sequence on shade, on the chord track we're using shade, it's nice to be able to sort of like dirty it up like as a build-up, which I do quite a bit. Same ADSR controls for stuff. So you can turn that from a piano into a chord, a pad if you want to, and all the rest of the same stuff over here. One of the cool things about each track is, so we already went over the presets here. You can randomize a patch whenever you want by hitting the track button and record. And you're going to see a bunch of stuff jump all around. Let's switch over to a different engine like digital, which is going to be really obvious. Let's drop our attack down. So you can hear that it's doing a lot of different, you can hear that it's doing a bunch of randomization to pretty much all the parameters that you see on screen here. So that's cool. You can get a little bit of inspiration. In the sample section, you have control over the pitch of the samples. You can reverse them. And you also have that filter, which is nice if you want to drop some highs. Or lows. And all that stuff can be step locked per step, which is really nice. You have a different sort of envelope on here. You do have attack. You have sample start point. You have hold, and you have a decay. And again, all this stuff, if you want to just rock it out real quick, can be controlled from that touchpad strip. You have an LFO, which can be assigned to all the same things that you can with the other synth engines, but obviously here, a little different. So, and do a pitch, whether or not it's reversing, filter, pan, volume, and resonance. Super nice. You have effect sends, and volume and pan. So that's a brief overview of the sound engines of the OPZ. I hope that it was informative. Check out the playlist if you want to watch some more stuff, linked in the end of the video or the description. And yeah, have a wonderful day.